Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Rick. I got videos today from Manhood. Modern women were finally realizing that the good guys were the chads they needed all along. Please subscribe them below. I really appreciate it. That's good. Chow time.
Modern women finally realize the good guys were the real chads they need.
Married for 10 years. I got married young. I was 21, barely, like 3 days, 21. Already had a baby. He was 8 weeks old at our wedding. And I remember feeling like my marriage was temporary from the beginning. Like that I wasn't gonna make it. And I didn't know what that feeling was. I just thought it was...
So let me get this straight. She was married for 10 years, strung this man along for 10 years, had children with this man, and knew from the beginning that she didn't want to marry him. Marriage is forever, and it's not temporary, and age is not an excuse in my opinion. But there's more to the story, so continue.
Fighting for me, I was pushing him away. But I never truly accepted happiness. I left the good guy. He looks at and is like, that's a dad. That's a husband. That's how it's supposed to be. He did the dishes. He cleaned
So what do you want? The Chad and Tyrone just to run through you the whole time?
the house. He took the kids to school. He worked all day. He made good money. He supported us. I mean, yeah, we had our problems, but
So you ripped his
he was
family
the good
apart.
guy. So I'm here to tell you, it's okay to leave the good guy.
Wow.
Modern women and regrets are best of friends. They don't end up in regret by chance. They deliberately choose paths where regret is the welcoming host. Many women have realized that the real Chad is the good guy. They have finally understood that good guys are the ones they should have settled with. All the attributes they accord to Chad are nothing compared to what good guys have to offer.
True.
Why this is a big issue for women is that the good guys are walking away and don't want anything to do with the women who once rejected them. Modern women are a product of misplaced priorities. Some modern women had a lineup of good guys. Good guys were all over them. But instead of settling with one and living happily ever after, like the happy wives on the internet, they rejected them. Do you know there are 3 types of women on the internet? The happy ones showing their beautiful lives with their husbands and kids, the ones who reject the good guys for Chad and rant about men, and those teaching women how to deal with being a single mom or dating after 40.
True.
They believe good and nice guys are not generally confident, less likely to be romantic and adventurous, and can't evoke emotions and ecstasy like Chad. The phrase, good guys finish last, was coined out of this.
You know, I date women and they think I'm boring. I live a boring life. All I do is go out to eat. I don't enjoy concerts. I don't listen to music that much. You know, I don't go out to do things out of my way other than the things I enjoy, which would be bowling and tennis. Most women hate that about me. And I'm just like, I'm 37 now. What the fuck do you want me to do? Go to raves every weekend? Fucking bar hop every weekend? It doesn't even make sense to me to even do that in your early 20s. Fucking get to saving money and start building a future.
Seeing as most of these women will use almost any excuse to avoid dating good or nice guys, they would rather refer to them as good friends.
I did a video on why good guys are boring. I think it's only fair I do a video on why girls love bad boys. It's the charm. Bad boys are very charming, extremely charming, and they know women inside and out. Like, it's always the bad guys that be knowing exactly how to talk to you and exactly how to move with you. And bad boys honestly give you a challenge. Like, as much as people want to say, oh, it's toxic and this and that, like, there's a certain level where, like, I feel like your partner should be able to challenge you. And I must admit, like, who doesn't love a good chase? Like, I think healthy chase is not so terrible. I don't think you should give everything all at once. That's what makes the relationship boring, when you dump everything all at the beginning. But I also have to admit, it's ego. I think the more someone shows you that they don't want you, the more you want them. That goes for men
Exactly.
and women. I don't know, there's just something about bad boys. It's like they know how to show you the right amount of what you need, but they're just damn right players. They're no good.
Exactly.
So, women move.
You know, after my divorce, I learned this very well. I played that Chad card, ignore them, treat them like shit card. It worked very well. Very, very well, guys. But I hated it. It wasn't my personality. I don't like treating people like trash. I don't like ignoring people. If I like someone, I like someone. You know, to play games with yourself, to pretend not to like someone, or to ignore someone, or to treat someone like trash, it's just too much. It's not worth it.
Moved from this state of delusion to realizing they had gone down the drain by choosing the wrong men. They needed Chad, but they chose the wrong Chad and the wrong attributes.
Go for the boring guy? Let me explain. Hey, I'm Amanda. I'm your cautionary tale. Follow me for more single mom advice. I've been through it all and trying to help you avoid the same mistakes that I made.
This one seems like she's about to give some decent advice, at least.
Therapy session, my therapist said, you need to go for the boring guy. Like, what do you mean? Like, I want adventure, I want excitement. I just got out of this terrible toxic relationship. She's like, no. She goes, you're used to toxic relationships. That's what you know. You have to retrain your brain. That's actually not the kind of guy you want. You're gonna think this guy is boring, but he's not really. You think you want the guy that whisks you off to Hawaii or Vegas. It's helicopter rides, like on The Bachelor. No. You want the guy that...
They literally are fantasizing about helicopter rides like that. My gosh.
sets up your bleacher seat before you arrive at your son's baseball game. You want the guy that when you sit down after dinner to watch a show says, whatever you want, babe. You want the guy that when you call him in the middle of the day and he's busy, he still picks up the phone and says, you okay? Everything okay?
It is so funny that many researchers are trying to justify how these women act, even when they know these women regret their decisions these days. It is online where they post themselves ranting and crying, explaining how they ignored good guys and later entered relationships where they suffered both physically and mentally. I will share a story of a lady who explained how she regretted rejecting a guy. This time last year, a young woman met a really nice guy. They were in similar life situations, having just graduated from university and securing their first jobs. They clicked immediately. They worked together and saw each other frequently, often going to bookstores, pizza places, and his apartment to watch TV. They private messaged on Facebook almost every night and texted each other practically every day.
I don't get the private messaging on Facebook and texting. Can't you people just use one medium to communicate? I hate that people use all these different apps, especially women. That makes me like, oh, can you chat with me on this app? I'm like, can you just text? What's wrong with texting?
The woman liked him, and one night, he asked if she would go out with him. Despite genuinely liking him as a person, she said no, because he was too nice and always acted good. She hoped he would continue to be her friend. They remained close, but he was still too understanding, continuing to text, email, and want to meet up most of the time. Eventually, their temp roles ended as their contracts expired, and they both got new jobs. The texts and emails dried up, and the woman felt that if he wasn't messaging her, he might not want to hear from her. So she stopped reaching out, believing they were on the same page and that he would stop acting so good. Now, she is in a bad and mentally exhausting relationship. She often thinks about how great things could have been between them and wonders if he would still remember her if she got in touch with him. She really hopes he isn't seeing someone now. She realizes she made a grave mistake back then and regrets not saying yes to him.
Ladies, if you reject a good-hearted, honest man and go for the bad boy, just know that when he hurts you, don't come with that line that all men are the same. Because at that point, it's not the men that's the problem, it's you.
Selena Gomez once said, "If you rejected a good guy, but accepted the bad guy when he hurts you, don't you dare say all men are the same." She would never have said this if she did not realize how women have positioned themselves to suffer in the near future because they chose toxicity, thrill, pleasure, unpredictability, and excitement over respect, loyalty, peace, and attention that good guys are ready to offer them. It is quite depressing because many good guys had to go rogue to bad girls. After all, that was the only language modern women understood. Everyone likes instant excitement, but at the expense of what? This is not a pity video. It is plugging into the misery of modern women after being crushed by the wall. In a real-life setting, we surely have different reasons and the right to choose anything we want. But it becomes a problem when we choose something really bad for ourselves and start stigmatizing the group when we start regretting it. Modern women's first mistake, due to feminism, is forgetting that they will long to settle down someday and be loved genuinely by a man in the presence of their children.
I think they realize that. They just thought they can hold it off and be in their 30s and 40s and get exactly what they want, the men and the family that they wanted. That's where they fucked up.
It is nature. These women do not suffer the consequences alone. They also bring their kids into the mess. It is one thing to follow a trend and another to experience the consequences. Women talk more about the trend and less about the regrets so that more foolish women can be victims.
Yep.
Some of these women did not even reject these good guys because they wanted to, but because a narrow-minded friend somewhere advised them to. A relationship or marriage is no child's play, so why would anyone decide to enter one with a bad guy, all because she believes good guys are not active enough? Well, that is the definition of a modern woman, and they have their misery to bear.
Damn right.
Excuses for causing destruction are the funniest, and these women always have those excuses and are always ready to pour them out.
Like I said, guys, I saw the game both sides, to be the fuckboy bad boy and the good guy. I've always been the good guy, and I tried out the bad boy. It just made me feel like a piece of shit. It really did. And I'm not saying that you guys that do play the game and, you know, do all these things are pieces of shit. I'm just saying it made me feel like a piece of shit because I had to, yes, lie in a sense, majority of the time, just tell them exactly what they wanted to hear. And because we're red-pilled and we know exactly what women want to hear, it plays into that. It's not the greatest, guys. Being promiscuous as a man may seem wonderful, may seem great, but the dangers are way worse than women, I think. Why? Pregnancy, take your kid away, child support, STDs, take your resources. It's just so much fucked up shit that we deal with. Please explore them below. I really appreciate that. Catch you guys next time. Ciao.